straighten up that line. You put your 2 centimeters on that you've got for your felling on the hemline. You're going to fell it, or you can just do a centimeter for stitching, and then you just add your centimeter along the center back, because that is your seam. And then this line is not straight anymore, it's slightly shaped into there like that. So you then add your seam allowance, which is a centimeter on the center back all the way down. Follow the line sorry, follow the line right along, so you get a nice line into there, into the waist, out, and then all the way down the bottom, a centimeter for your seam. So that's your centimeter, and then you do a 1/4 at the neck as you did on the front, 1/4 on the neckline, 1/4 on the neck, a centimeter on the shoulders, and around the armhole we go a centimeter also. Use your curve. If you haven't got a good, you can't curve it so well with your hands, you use the curve. Curve gives you a nice curve in there, so you can use your curve like that, get a nice curve in there in your armhole, so it's nice and curved like that, and you follow the curve round. Okay, so that's almost there, and then you just come down your centimeter on your side, you follow that round, follow that all the way round and all the way straight down to the hem. And then you've got to put your seam allowance on, and it's parallel to this line here, so you can just draw a straight line on there for your grain line now, all the way up to the top, and that is your grain line, and that is where your insert is going to go, up to that line. So that is now your back. We're going to come down 1/2 inch, and we're going to go in an eighth and circle it, and then we're going to come up 1/2 inch, and we put the drill holes in for your back. You must always remember to put some balance line at the side. You can have one at the waistline, and we can have one halfway between the waist and the hem, or you could have 2 if it's a long dress. We can put them in like that and have one at the waist like that, so it helps you when you come to machine to stitch up your side seams. It gives you a guide. So this is you're going to cut 2 of those, and this is your back of your skirt. So the next thing we're going to do is to do the inset for the back. So what we do is, we're not going to won't cut that out just yet. So what I'm going to do is, on this sheet of paper that I've got, we know that we want whatever the measurement is here on the back. We're going to measure that up, right, omitting the hem, the seam allowance we've got at the hem. So whatever that is, we're going to measure up from there to there, the amount. And all we're going to do is, we're going to, from this point here, because it's a point here, from that point we're going to measure out how wide we want this to be. It depends on you and the fabric that you're using. So I am going to measure that out. I'm going to take that, I want it to be, from that point I want it to be, I'm going to measure what this is, and we're saying that is whatever you make it. If it's 18 inches whatever inches you've got, you measure that up, which we've got, and then we've got to measure how wide we want it, because we're doing this, we're going to call this center fold. So if I want to open that 18 inches, I'm going to make it 9 inches. If I want it 20 inches when it's open out, I'm going to do it 10 inches because it's on the fold. So what I do is I do this with the tape measure, because you find it's more accurate if we do it with the tape measure. So whatever that measurement is, we're just going to leave our tape measure in there, and we're going to measure around like that at different places. Make sure that it's there before you mark, it's touching the line, and you measure out, and you measure out. You've got to keep it at that point, and you measure out whatever the measurement is. Then you can stop, and then if it's 20 inches, you want this to be full when it's open, you got to then now measure with your tape measure that measures 10 inches, right? If it's not 10 inches, then you've got to go and do some more. So I'm going to make mine 10. You've got to go out some more, and I want it to be there. So if I put a little mark and I'll check it again to make sure it's 10 inches, and I'll just put a mark where it's 10, and then I'm going to draw a straight line from there to that line like that. So once you've done that, you're going to just double check to make sure that from that point to that point, from that point to halfway in, it's the same. From there to there, it's the same measurement before you go any further. So once you know you got that measurement, it's there, recheck it again. You recheck it, and it's to there. All you do is you're going to curve that around to meet that point, curve it around to meet that point, so we can take those little lines that we have there out. So what we do is now we then curve it around. You can use your curve, or if you've got a steady hand, curve that around. So that is now your inset that you have. That's your inset that you have to set into there, because it's going to be setting, go into a point from your center back seam here. So once you've got that, you then just add your seam allowance, because this is the seam here where you're going to stitch into, you're going to stitch that into the center back all the way down there. So we just add a centimeter seam, because that's the amount that you're going to be using to stitch it in. So that's what you use. So this is now on the center fold. This edge here is on the fold. Okay, so what we do is we then cut out on the seam line, and then we also have to add our 1/4 inch seam, because that's all you need around there to neaten that off before you set it into your seam that we've got there. Okay, so you then cut this shape out, or you can also trace that off. So I'll just cut that out. I like to do mine on the fold. So what I'll do is, once I cut that out, because I've got all my seam allowance and everything on, I'm going to fold another sheet of paper, and I'm going to do mine on the fold. So your paper pattern that you've got here, you fold the edge of the paper, you place that to the fold edge like that. You can see that's going to be very full and floaty at the back. Now, and then I'll just mark that out on another sheet of paper as it is, all the way around. Nice shape. Now, when I come to the back, if I want it to be longer, I want it to be longer at the back. So it's really, if you're doing an evening dress, a long dress, it's floaty at the back of it, and longer. As you walk along, it just drags a bit on the floor. So what I do is, from halfway between, from that point to that point, halfway, which is there, I measure down, say, deciding how much you want it to be touching the floor. Whatever the measurement is, you measure from there to there, and whatever it is, you put a mark, and then you just gradually take that back into just past the half point of that, between from there to there, half point, you put a mark. And then I just move that out the way, and then I just reconnect my shape, getting a nice lovely run. So at the back, like my center back, it's slightly longer at the back. So you can just mark on your seam allowance, which is 1 centimeter, which you've got there. And this is now the finished section of your back, because you've got your seam allowance and everything on there already. So you then cut out the shape, and it's slightly longer at the center back, so you get a nice draping on the floor. So that's what your shape look like. It's like that. And then I'm going to use the center of that for my grain line, like that. Also, you can do a grain line, you can lay in on your fabric that way if you want. So that is now my center back piece, which fits into here up to that point there, like that. You see that? That fits into there like that. Right? It fits up to the, after you've taken your seam allowance off, which is 1/4 all the way around there, or you can super lock the edge if you want. It goes to there where you've got your hem allowance there, your 1/4, and then that just goes to there, fits right up to that notch that you've got there, into there, like that. And then all of that just flutes back down into a nice insert that we've got there. So that is your pattern piece for the back. And you write on there, back, inset, and you're going to cut one of those. So that is your back inset for that dress there, and that's your back piece. That's your front, that's your inset, that's the front, and that's the inset for the side, your side bit. And that's the reminder of the picture. We've just done the front and we've done the back. And then all we need to do is the facing. If we're not lining this dress, we do a facing for the front, facing for the back. But with something like this, I would line it. You know, I'd do a lining for this, you know, not all the way down, but maybe, you know, a little bit from the bottom. So I can show you how we do that when we get round to that another time. So that is how we create the front. And we're going to take a break now, and we're going to come back and we're going to be doing the sleeve. We're going to be doing the sleeve. So that this now that we've done, we're calling this part 1, and we're going to come back, take a break, and come back to part 2, which is the sleeve. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have been able to follow this through. And don't forget to like and to comment and to share. You know, there must be someone out there apart from you who wants to know how to create something for themselves, doing it so that they, even if when they go into the shop and they see something, it won't fit them right at different parts of their body. But once you've got your block, you know, you're ready to go, you know it's fitting you, and you know you can create any style that you want. And also, not only create any style that we want, create something that somebody has not got. You know, you wouldn't walk into a function or somewhere and the dreaded thing is to see somebody in the same garment as you do. But when you're able to create it, you don't have that problem. So join me next time when we come back. So have a good afternoon until I come back again, wherever you are, whether it's morning, evening, or lunchtime. Have a good day. Bye bye.